All right, what's up, everybody? This is the Friday Mastermind. Todd, it was so great to see you here at Momentum Builders over the last 3 days. Uh, I loved getting to introduce you and Deborah. Uh, I know when I did the introduction, I mentioned how many years we've been doing this Friday Mastermind, but is it 7 years that
I
we've
think
been
we're
doing it,
hitting
you and I?
7 years. I think we started this baby back in 2016, summer of 2016, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, that is
And
that is just amazing.
and I had a blast at Momentum Builder too, right? I was talking to a bunch of people. It's really powerful, right? We have such a great community, and we all I cherish the time that we all get together virtually, whether it's a weekly basis, a couple times a week. But there's definitely something special about being together in person and sharing those ideas. And I just got off my coaching call with Jonathan Roach, and we were talking about being locked in. And one of the things that was different about this event for me is I felt like I was locked in, but I wasn't even the most locked in person. I mean, Denise Donahue, Deborah Bird saved me a seat at the table that was like really close to the front. And at first I was negative voice came in and was like, oh, I want to sit in the back so I can do some work. But I sat towards the front. We were, like nothing between us and the stage, but not the front table. But at the front table, the front person was Sean Herrero both days. Jeremy was there the first day, locked in, sitting next to him in the front row. And I think that's there's a lot to be said. I think leadership leads, and I was really impressed watching Denise, Deborah, Sharon, Jeremy, Sean just be so focused around with all the other people who showed up both days for the event. It's in Vegas. There's always attrition from day one to day two, which was just crazy to me because the speaker lineup on day two was equally amazing. And so I love the idea of being belly to belly. So we're going to talk about two events today. And, I want to make sure that you all think through the potential opportunities that you have to really dig in a little bit deeper, to get yourself locked in as we head into what's still going to be a difficult year in the mortgage business. And Dave, can you set up Modern Mortgage Summit, the live portion of it, right? You all should do the virtual portion, but the live portion, can you kind of talk about what's unique about that?
Yeah. So first of all, reminder everyone, the Modern Mortgage Summit is now being advertised as of 2 days ago. So go to modernmortgagesummit.com. And virtual tickets are $100, pretty straightforward. We could only have 50 more people, and actually I think it's down to 45 more people. I think we sold 5 or 6. No, we sold 7 tickets the past couple of days. So let's just say there's 40 tickets left, and it's a room at Bradley's studio in Las Vegas. All the chairs are leather recliners, like it's amazing. Imagine 65 leather recliners. And then a stage. So it's like a TED Talk. So it's going to be a cool experience. It's going to be some of the, anyone that pays that amount of money to be at the event is very growth minded and is serious about winning. And the stage is among the, like who we think epitomize a modern mortgage professional in this market. So check it out. So I do want to get Wally on stage quick here. Wally, I want to do a quick.
Can I just throw in one more thing, Dave, on that? Can I throw in one more thing?
Well, I'm not going to just bring. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Let me just throw one thing in. The first person to buy tickets for the live event, who bought 5 tickets, paid for them, was Jeremy Forcier, who's a speaker, and he's bringing his team and maybe a recruit or two to the live event, because we do include it, and it's a mastermind the next morning. And so not only was everyone sitting there taking notes alongside of all the speakers, most of the speakers were there the next day for the mastermind, and so it was a really cool small experience.
Yeah, and two more things before we bring you on, Wally. I had a couple of thoughts I wanted to share. You were late, buddy, so we had to get started and make up stuff on the fly here. But I want to put an exclamation mark on what Todd said. At this event, literally the people that were up front taking the most notes had the least amount of bathroom breaks. I never saw them going out to take phone calls. Was Sean Herrero, Denise Donahue. And I know for a fact those were probably, if not the 2 single most successful, highest producing professionals in the room. Maybe there was 1 or 2 other people in the room at their level. And so the best are always learning. Every time I'm at an event that Shayla's at, she's like right there with them. She's up front, she's taking notes. And then to Todd's point, and then Jeremy, he buys the first group of 5 tickets, pays full price, because he wants to take some team members and he wants to bring a recruit. So I just want to call that out. Be front row, be taking notes, be an implementer. My last thing, people have been asking me, what was your favorite presentation? I did not see them all, so it's not like I saw every single presentation because I was outside having biz dev meetings and growing trust engine. But I did see Ryan Grant, and it was unbelievable. And try to get him to do an interview on it. It was about mental health, and he just talked about mental health in mortgage and real estate, and gave some really constructive frameworks and ideas. So if you would like to have me prioritize a mastermind on mental health, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to kind of prioritize that based off of the community's desires. Like, is that a priority? Okay, cool. We get lots of thumbs up. Paul, you see that? Let's get Ryan as soon as we can to do a follow-up on that presentation he gave. All right, Wally, hopefully when you talk in a minute, we're going to hear you. Can we hear you, bro?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right. So
hey.
before we hand it off to you, we have to do a little scroll stopping photo. Guys, this is one of our little hacks so that when this shows up on social media, it looks like you want to click on it. So do something fun with your hands. Todd, let's go.
3, 2, 1. Perfect. Enjoy.
So guys, we usually do that before we start recording and before we push this live into Facebook, but Wally, was a few minutes late. So Wally, you could have talked about anything you wanted to talk about. And we said, hey, what do you want to, we want to have you on this Friday Mastermind. We know there's some love and some value in you, but why did you pick this topic, and give us the what and why it is?
Well, first of all, I want to publicly apologize to everybody, the Mortgage Coach Trust Engine world. I know you haven't asked for it, but I'm never late to anything, and I was late to this, and hopefully you won't ban me for life. So
yeah, no.
Real quick too. Once we introduce the gentleman over to your left, all right.
Well, you are going to get a 1 month penalty.
All right, penalty. I'll sit on the sidelines. All right, so to my left.
I'm kidding.
To my left, I deserve it. I'll take it. Is Kaleb Ziegler. So Kaleb is one of my best friends. He's been a teammate of mine for I'd say going on 8 years now. He was a college student that came in as one of my dialers back when I used to do cold leads, and then he worked his way up to the brainchild behind the client concierge system. So Kaleb has managed to build out a lot, if not all, the scripts for the annual mortgage reviews, the mortgage efficiency checkups, the 6-lane highway. He's the verbal coach of Team Wally 2.0. And did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
At least this half for this world.
He's how old are you now?
28. I'll be 29 next
28
next month.
He joined me. He was 20 years old. He's come a long way, and he's a big reason of our team's success. So
and Kaleb, if memory serves me correct, you're pretty good at creating total cost analysis. Like, that is a skill that you have.
I'm a little okay at doing some total cost analysis. I don't know if I'm number one, but we're up there. We're trying.
How many do you think you've personally done? Because I know Wally in his account, it's thousands and thousands and thousands. But what do you think? What do you think?
15 to 20% of the ones that he's had there.
Yeah.
Okay, so over 1,000.
Oh, easily, yeah. And his department actually. So one of the steps that his department does is once that loan closes and funds, he goes in the TCA and updates it with how the client actually closed and funded, and then the annual mortgage fee process begins. So loan officer does when the time of loan application, submitting offers, looking at options, but then Kaleb and his team help clean the loan officer's mess behind the scenes. And then when they start doing the annual mortgage reviews and the 6-month call, the total cost analysis is exactly correct.
Well, we'll just adjust it because you guys are showing multiple options to your clients. So whatever they end up picking, we're going to make sure we update it correctly post-closing. So that way your 6-month call is super, super effective.
Love that. Well, I love what you're doing. I do want anyone listening to this, the way Wally shows up, it's because he's an absolute expert. Like, he has helped thousands of families where he's asked them a few questions. He's looked at their 1003, which is the assets and liability side of their balance sheet, and he's given advice. And so is Kaleb. He came in young and he learned how to be an advisor. And when you learn how to be an advisor, you have a different experience in the mortgage industry. Just like if you know a martial art, you walk around in the world with a different level of confidence from the inside out. So I just want to push everyone watching this, like, to be the people that we interview. You need to do the inside work, and that means you need to do as many, mortgage coach experiences, because that is delivering the ultimate experience to families. So the original question was, why'd you pick this headline, and what are we going to talk about?
It's because of that good looking man next to you on the screen there, Mr. Bookspan. So him and Deborah did a class that taught exactly what to say, and got Caleb and I certified for exactly what to say. And what's super cool about it is we came back to our realtors and asked them, where do you feel like you're verbally the most challenged? Where do you feel like, you've got the biggest opportunity to grow verbally in conversations? And what they said was it was open houses. It was that they wanted to get coaching around how they can improve their scripting in open houses. So we sought out Todd, and Todd, I'd love to you share about exactly what to say and that's the certification. But we sought out Todd, and that was the lenses that Caleb and I had. So as we took notes in the class and in the certification, we've started to coach our realtors from what Todd Bookspan and Deborah Bird taught us. But Todd, anything you want to add about the exactly what to say certification?
Well, first off, it was such a pleasure to have both of you there, right? So, one thing as a leader, right, Wally, not only did Wally come, he actually bought a ticket for Caleb to be there as well. And just kind of like Dave talked about, I think winners know how to win. And the two of you were part of the room. It's a small group. It's 16 people. And you were all in. It wasn't like you were, leaving it and trying to take phone calls during the conversations. You guys were there as students and contributed immensely to the room. So we were super grateful to have you there. Unfortunately, Deborah's not here this morning. Somebody dropped a barbell on her son's foot at school, so she had to go pick him up. But it's really, again, such a small, intimate experience. And to see people do things, it was interesting because, Deb's team at Plug and Play does my Win by Noon social media. And she asked a question this last week was about what people's LTD is, their learn to doing. And I think one of the things that you and your team, Wally, do at such a high level is you learn and then you execute. And so I want to shine a light on you as an example to everyone else as you're learning these things. Pick something that you're super passionate about, go deep, which is what Wally did, and then execute.
And real quick before you do that, Wally, like I said, I'm here in Vegas, just finished up Mastermind. We were just talking about who was at the front of the row, who already bought 5 tickets to the Modern Mortgage Summit, and look who I found.
Oh my gosh.
Hey guys.
What's up, Jeremy? How are you, man?
Wally, Ali. I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. Good.
Nice.
We still need to get our golf round together.
Hey, man, whenever you want, I'm ready.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna come see you. Then I'm gonna drag Dave with us, and we'll hang out and have fun.
Fantastic.
Hey,
Yeah.
count me in. And one more real quick thing. We had Wally. Was it this Tuesday that you jumped on the call?
Yes.
And he shared some pretty great tactics and strategies around open houses. So make sure you check out
Nice.
this Tuesday's interview, and you can hear the Jeremy Forcier exactly what he says it does at an open house.
Yeah. And
Well, he was at 2 open houses last weekend, right? So there's a difference too, right? A lot of us are coaching agents what to do at an open house. Jeremy was there at 2 open houses with them, and his wife was in the audience and verified it.
yeah. Also, in that Tuesday interview, if you guys notice, I'm holding the little white thing and I'm squeezing it, and I put it into the screen a couple times. That is from Wally. It's a brain for the 24/7 that he sent me. I don't know if anyone caught that. It was subliminal. I kept squeezing it. Use your brain. So thank you for that gift, man. It's great to see you guys. You guys are all doing great work. Go crush it.
You're the best, bud. We'll see you
Appreciate
soon. Thanks, bud. All right. So am I allowed to share my screen, or am I not allowed to share my screen?
You should have access.
First of all, what? Winners don't ask for permission. Winners ask for forgiveness, bro.
Hey, I'm on probation for the next 30 days, remember?
Come on now. You roll. Bring the heat, Wally.
So while
All right.
Wally brings that up, Deborah and I are doing our next Exactly What to Say certification in May in Santa Monica, California. We had a special at Momentum Builder for $1,000 off, which runs for this week, actually through next week. And don't tell anyone, but the Momentum Builder code, if you use the link that's in the chat, that Momentum Builder code is live through the 29th. So you can go there. That code is on my link tree. You can use it and save $1,000 while supplies last. We've sold out the last 2 events. I know we'll sell out this one, but that's my sales pitch for the day.
All right. So
Take it away,
Todd, can
Wally.
you see my screen okay?
Your screen looks amazing.
Does it? Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I can jump to it and you guys jump in whenever you whenever you want. All right. So exactly what to say for open houses. I'm sure Mr. Phil Jones has a ton more books, but these 2 have been game changers for us. So we give these away and we teach classes around these 2 to our realtors. So what we're going to go through today is breaking down for you what the scripts are that we use. All right. So there's going to be 3 different giveaways that I'm going to give away on this call or on this Mortgage Coach show, but you need your phones. All right. So grab your phones. I'll wait here for a quick second. And grab your phones and scan on the QR code to download the scripts. So what's super cool about this is what we're going to go through today is when we're doing an open house, we're coaching a realtor how to do open houses. We're talking to them about the perspective changers, assumption frames, labeling, how to stay in the game, and making conversations count. So we're giving them scripts and templates of what to say, when to say, how to say it in a conversation with different borrowers and different personality types. So if you want our scripts from A to Z, download that link right there. And if you're watching this afterwards, feel free to jump on that and re-download it from there. So that's at your fingertips. All right. So that's my song and dance. Then you're really going to get to see the expert behind the scenes. So Caleb, what is a rejection-free opener for an open house?
Well, if you guys haven't, if you don't know what a rejection-free opening is, there's typically going to be 4 of them. You're going to have, I'm not sure if this is for you, but are you open-minded? Who do you know? And then open fact question. So my favorite at open house is an open fact question. It's really simple. Hey, how you doing? State the address. What brought you out to this open house today? It's going to be open-minded and open to what brought them out. It's not a closed-ended question. So it's constantly, how can you keep the conversation going? My favorite thing about exactly what to say is not that it's always telling you exactly what to say, even though it does. It's so you can always stay in the game and always keep that conversation going, because that's what's important whenever we're in a conversation. How do we keep our lanes open and how do we keep the conversation going so we can win and convert it ultimately?
So when you're talking to a realtor and you're coaching a realtor for open houses, and Caleb does weekly coaching with our realtors here in Dallas. So if you're a realtor watching this and you want coaching one-on-one or in a group from your team here in Dallas, give us a call. We'd love to have you. But what are some ways that their mind gets opened? Like, how does it like, oh, wow. Okay. Then like success is from there. So how do you open their mind?
I think the biggest thing is they're so closed off because they're doing it every single day. They're the ones that are going to the open houses and they know it and they have their systems that are set up. Nobody else knows what those systems are. So when we're going in and we're having these conversations, it's truly just breaking down, hey, what are you currently doing and how could we look at this a little bit differently? So once I'm getting their mindset to shift from it's just an open house, there's no value here, it's just an open house, I'm just getting leads, to, hey, how can we take these leads, nurture them, and then build rapport so that way the next open house you have that's in the same neighborhood or in a different neighborhood, you can truly add value to these clients. I think that a lot of the times they're truly just going in and going through the motions, and I can change their mindset to be value-based is when they truly start understanding more to why the scripts are important.
Got it. Hey, Todd, where do you feel, what do we leave out on a rejection-free openers? You're the expert.
It's really one of my favorite things, right? I think the reason that most of you have call reluctance, and I have call reluctance, is I don't like to be rejected, right? We all want to be loved. And so what I love about the rejection-free openings, and it's really after we cover the cornerstones and kind of the framework and the certification for the why behind it, right? So the book that you saw is the what. It's the words. It's all these 23 magic phrases. And in the certification, we go through 32. Phil's added some in there. And we really dig in with the framework behind it, because and then really the how, the where, the when and the why you use them, right? It's kind of, I just view them all as arrows in my quiver, right? I'm trying to figure out which arrow to pull out based on the conversation when they come in. And so I think the real key is we're all fearful of rejection. And so if you can get really good at this, now you can go to Amazon and you can buy the book. If you haven't, I would recommend you download the Audible. I looked yesterday, it was $13.49 for the real estate agent version, which is the one I would recommend you get. You should probably get both, but that one will be relevant because you can hear already that Wally and Caleb are using it with their realtor. So you can start using these just from the book, right? You don't have to pay to go to a certification. You can actually take this and put it into action. But if you can just get the ball, your foot in the door, right? You're just trying to get the ball into play. By having something to say that they won't reject. That's just talking to their subconscious mind and gets them past maybe to a yes or a no, but hopefully to a yes. And so I think you guys are nailing it. I think the key is that, right? Caleb said, hey, this is my favorite, right? As you get and you learn the body of work, you'll figure out what your favorite is, and you'll figure out what that arrow is to pull out of your quiver to get the conversation started.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right. Again, we're going to get a ton of free giveaways from this. So there's 76 different free giveaways that you can download on 247mindset.com, free resources. So if you want scripts, we do exactly what to say now for the scripts for our 7-day call after closing, our 30-day call after closing, our 6-month call after closing, our annual mortgage review call after closing. We also, you'll get scripts in there from the sake of the lead to app that we do, from the high trust interview that we do with the clients before when we're going through options. We've got these now embedded commands and perspective changes through the whole entire conversation, all the way from lead to app, all the way to the annual mortgage review. So if you want access to free scripts on that, just scan the QR code you have right there. And then there's access to 76 different free resources. All right. So what are perspective changers for open houses?
Yeah. So perspective changers, it's first to know what is a perspective changers. A lot of people use different words and different phrases for them. It's just truly, how can you get someone to think differently so you can ultimately have a conversation with them? So a couple ones that I'll pick here would be, what do you understand? How certain are you? When was the last time? So a lot of the times people are just going in very closed off. I like to compare perspective changers to when you're in a retail store. When somebody walks in, they go, hey, how can I help you? You're going to automatically say, I'm good. Okay, completely understand you're good. Who are you shopping for? What brought you in today? Those are those perspective changes that you can't just say no to. You have to give more feedback. And for us with open houses, you've got ones that could be, hey, what do you understand about this neighborhood? How certain are you that we couldn't change this house a little bit to make it perfect for you? So we're going through all these different types of perspective changes with our agents. So what I'll do with them is say, hey, what is it you want to say? And then from there, we'll go ahead and figure out how we can add a perspective changer with exactly what to say to give them a phrase that's perfect for them when they go to that open house.
Awesome. Very good. And that's where I think the whole mindset change, right? I think if you read the book 24/7 Mindset, I start off talking about a 6, I start off talking about a 9, and they're the same number. You just look at it differently. It's all about the lenses that you choose to look through and these changers and how you do it and how you're able to get the scripts, the free scripts that we just gave away. It's a game changer in any conversation. But Todd, what do you want to share about the perspective changers?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, these are things you're trying to bring down the barriers of conversation. And you literally could go through, like I get put on the spot at the event, half the time by Deborah, half the time by other attendees, where someone throws out a question, whatever that is, and then I run through all 32 of them and how I would use all 32 of them to answer one question. And so the easy one here that you're all getting, so we're talking about open houses here, right? So he's talking about, what do you understand about the neighborhood? Think about the same thing if someone asks you about what's your rate, right? Then we all go into some dialogue of some sort, like, oh, there's 26 different things I need to know about you, or, oh, rates change each and every day, so I really can't give you an exact rate, or, oh, rates are in this range, and which throws the person off because they saw a specific number from somewhere else. And so the question that I would suggest potentially, again, it's just one of the arrows in your quiver that you can pull out, is, hey, what do you understand about interest rates, or what's your experience with locking an interest rate? So there's different ways you can use this perspective changer, again, to shift their mindset, to get them to sit back and think, I've got to be here in curiosity to listen to what this person has to say.
Yeah, I think the biggest key of that is curiosity. The ability of being able to be open-minded and be open-hearted and just is the more you're more open-minded in conversation, the more you've got an open heart, the better chance of your success. And every conversation I go into with, if it's a lead app, if it's a high trust call, if it's a lock call, if it's an annual mortgage review, I visualize myself as Picasso with a paintbrush in my hand and a canvas that I'm about to draw my art on completely blank. You can't go into any of these conversations, oh, they're not a buyer, or no, they don't look serious, or hey, this is not going to be a good experience. You've got to go into every situation as you're the artist, you've got the paintbrush in your hand, and the canvas that you're looking at is completely blank. So, all right, what are assumptive frames for open house? What are some examples of assumptive frames for open houses?
Yeah. So before I just kind of jump in on your assumptive framings, the best thing and one of my favorite reasonings that I got, or what I got out of exactly what to say, is the framework of this. You do your rejection-free opening, you do your perspective changers, and now you're at your assumptive framings. So while it's not always the cleanest path, that's the way that I want you guys thinking about this when we're going through exactly what to say. So your assumptive framings are going to be, what I also compare this to is like your level 2.5 to level 3 as far as building rapport with your clients. This is where you're getting the what, the whys, and truly the purpose of what they're doing, because we've changed their mindset to now go, okay, they're open to know what we've got to say. And now we're assuming for them, based on the change of their mindset, how can we get them to move forward? So some examples of what assumptive framings are going to be. One would be a good time. I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to. There's two types of people, and then giving an example of two types of people. And then as Todd was saying earlier, my favorite one, and it's really important the way you frame this one, is I bet you're a bit like me. And the reason why I bet you're a bit like me is important for me is it's creating relationships. And depending on the personality style that you're working with, it's going to be incredibly important how you say and what you say after that, because you don't want to hurt the relationship because it's so quick. It's a quick one. It's at an open house. So, hey, I bet you're a bit like me, and you want to find a house that's going to get the best overall deal in this high rate environment. Or I bet you're a bit like me and you want to make sure it's easy for your kid to get home from school. Or I bet you're a bit like me and you want to be on the same way of the bus route. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you're framing it in their mindset so they can understand now you are thinking for them, not because or for yourself.
Can you all tell why he's the expert and I'm just the face? So how great was that, Todd?
It's I had no doubt, Caleb, you would crush it, but obviously exceeding at a high level for sure.
I think it should be called Team Caleb. This Wally guy's a schmo. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
good. Well,
hey, guys, I have a quick question because I'm really focused on helping branch managers, execute, because I do believe the branch manager is the most important role in a company that's trying to optimize lead flow, optimize conversion, and you guys are like teaching you're teaching some skills, you're teaching some sales strategy here. What would be the playbook that you would recommend to, and let's just say the branch manager has 10 loan officers. I know how Daniel Saw does it because I've interviewed Daniel and his VP of sales on it, but how would you guys take an idea like this? What would be the training rhythms? What would like, let's just say, hey, I want to make sure all my loan officers know how to do X and Y. How much training do you do? How often do you do the training? Anything you can give on, I can add to our branch manager playbooks.
yeah, so I'll have Caleb share from like the lenses of the implementer, then I will share from the lenses of the visionary.
Right. I was just going to say, the first thing I would do is honestly start with personality styles. Figure out who you're working with, figure out what your teammates are. I'm a big proponent of DISC personalities. So you can kind of figure out from us, we're two very strong D personalities, but figuring out the personalities. And then once you can figure out the personalities, it's going to be a lot easier to coach. So what's the frequency of that coaching going to look like? At minimum, once a week. And candidly, I think once a week isn't enough, especially if you're a branch manager. You've got to be constantly pouring into your teammates and making sure that, iron sharpens iron. So if you're not pouring into them, if you're not helping them with conversion, helping them with their leads, helping them understand where they're at in their business and how you can improve it, I think you're going to really struggle to continue to see the bigger picture and not have as many people bought in. When you really take the time at minimum of once a week, I would suggest 2 to 3 times. And of those 2 to 3 times, you're doing one that's solely reporting, which means what are you doing? What's the frequency? How many calls? What's your conversion rate? A second meeting I would do based on their calls and conversations. So listening to the calls, having them listen to their own calls. And then the third one is all around what can we adjust and how can we improve implementing?
Yeah. So and also, I mean, the point of that, Dave, is we came from Deborah and Todd's class, just like in awe. It was a humongous playbook for conversion rate, right? So we came back and Kaleb and I just brought in lunch here at the office and had a mastermind with the loan officers here and just went through and hey, we learned this, we learned this, we learned this, we learned this. Then what we did is, you sit down with the loan officers and you look at their conversion rates. You look at their conversion rate from lead to app. They get a referral to an application. From app to offer out, from offer out to getting under contract to actually locking in the loan to the funding a loan. You're looking at those 7 different milestones that we track through Jingo Salesforce. And then you're looking at each person's conversion rate. And we look at it as like, hey, what if we can increase that by 10%? Just each one of those categories increase that by 10%. Then how many more fundings does that give you more at the end of the month? So once we factually broke it down to a loan officer, hey, you can make another $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month if you can improve on your verbal strength. Then it was great because now there's weekly coaching that Kaleb does with the loan officers, and he does scripting practice as a group and also individual, but he does it to where he's coaching them and then they're increasing their success rate with conversion rates on more lead to apps converting applications. But then what's pretty cool about that is we're a big teaching type of team. Like if you've learned anything about me, I love coaching and teaching and mentoring. And we've taken what we learned from there, and now we've changed our lenses from a loan officer's point of view, from a second conversion, to a realtor's point of view. Then the next phase of this that we're going to work on in Q2 is how do we create exactly what to say for teaching our financial advisors, and exactly what to say for teaching our CPAs, exactly what to say for family will attorneys and insurance. The ability to be able to go to Deborah and Todd's class, which I highly, highly recommend you do. They have to teach you once they show you the way, bring it home to your loan officers as a branch manager. So every branch manager listening to this needs to sign up for the next Deb and Todd class. And the ability to go there, you get everything, anything that you remotely need class-wise, and come back, and now you've got a curriculum to teach your loan officers.
I love it. So let me just make sure I got some really key components. One, you're data driven. You know the metrics, the conversion metrics of your team, which, let's face it, the higher the conversion rate, the more valuable they are in the sales process, the more value they're creating. I would also recommend folks, their price exceptions, because that shows a sales fitness score. If they are higher than the norm, higher than your best performers, and there's probably things in their process and their scripting that are not optimized. And then there's a classroom part of this where you have a meeting and you tell them and you show them. And then I love where Kaleb started, because where Kaleb started is where most branch managers never start. And he talked about one-on-ones where their disc score, their personality style, and you heard him. Like, I don't think once a week is enough. Especially for your strugglers. Like when you have a medium, Daniel saw, like, their standard is every loan officer that works in this company is going to close 5 or more loans a month. And they manage to that standard. They hire to that standard. Everybody knows that. And so, having standards, managing it, and doing one-on-ones. And by the way, guys, anyone listening to this, I've interviewed Shop Beneshi multiple times. His branch, which is the number one, branch, is the number one loan officer in America, number one in G rate. They train 4 times a week. When I interviewed Daniel Saw, they're training. It's a learning and training culture. So, anyways, thanks, guys. That was super helpful. Todd, anything you want to add on that?
Well, no, I just love that example. It was interesting because I always joke, right? My mortgage team always gets tired of hearing from me, and I actually had the 3 of the loan officers on the team paid to come to the first certification that Deborah and I did. And I convinced them it's because Deborah's amazing that they wouldn't hear me talk very much, even though we split time. And I think the secret sauce of price exceptions is 2 things. We all know this, right? The secret sauce of easier conversations with your clients has always been the total cost analysis, right? I mean, it's, what Dave has countless white papers that show what he just said, that it's left price exceptions. But for me, I look at that as an easier conversation when I can't predict what the client thinks. I accidentally got on a call on President's Day with someone that was looking for a home loan. It was an old coaching client of mine who referred a client, and he gave him my personal cell phone. So I thought it was somebody else calling me from the area code. I picked it up, and 52 minutes later, not that I counted, I walked a first-time home buyer through who had already applied with Zillow Home Loans, Rocket, and with JP Morgan Chase, who was his bank, who he loves. And I used the dangled the carrot because they quoted him rates from 6.875 to 7.25. He had only got 2 of the quotes so far. And I used what do you understand about interest rates? And then I said, well, what's your experience with how they presented rates? Did they present it in a total cost analysis, or did they present it verbally, or did they give it to you in writing? And I created all this uncertainty in his head. And then I got him magically transferred back over to the loan officer who he should be talking to on the team. But it was just a lot easier conversation and a differentiation competing with 3 great companies. Because number one is we use the tool that Dave loves and talks about every day, which makes us look different than the 3 of them. Because guess what? None of them are going to give them a total cost analysis. But more importantly, we also know the words to say that open up their mind. We approach it with curiosity to make sure that that we're listening to them and hearing what they want. And in the end, what probably would have been a short conversation with the other lenders was a long conversation with us.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate that. One more thing before I give it back to Wally and Caleb, and Wally and Caleb, when you're talking about a slide, show it, and when you're not, let's take them down. But I want to remind everybody, we have this trustengine.com 10x page, and on every one of the tabs, how to win with realtors, how to win with rate shoppers. There is this interview that I did with Alex Thompson, and he is the VP of sales for Daniel Saw's region. And it's just must watch. And it's, that whole page is a resource for branch managers. So check it out. And I just realized I didn't see Wally's picture on there. I need to make sure that we get a Wally video within our 10X training. So stay tuned on which one of the interviews I'm going to do that.
It's in there. I'm kind of becoming like the stepchild or something, but I'm late to meetings, so I probably deserve it with a 30-day probation.
No, you're not the stepchild. There's nothing wrong with being a stepchild. I'm a redheaded stepchild, and I turned out just fine.
All right, so
All right.
three more slides, and then we can jump in. So let me
Let's
share
go.
this right here, Caleb. All right. Good. Everybody see the screen? Okay. Beautiful. All right. Let's get to their finish line here. What are labeling for open houses?
Yeah. So we've gone through rejection-free opening. We've got a great conversation now. We've gone through perspective changes. We've changed their mindset. They're open to having conversation and open to talking to us. We've got their mindset and we've framed it with assumptive framings. Now it's labeling. And what those 4 things for labeling are going to be are don't worry, most people, the good news is, and what happens next. My favorite thing out of this one is what happens next, because it gives them a roadmap of what we're going to be doing next. A lot of people, when they don't have clarity on the next steps, they really struggle and they stay right there in that more of a freeze moment instead of a fight. So the next step is, or what's happening next is where we're going to label them to be able to get them in contact with a loan officer from an open house. Or the next step is getting under contract and having that buyer's rep agreement. Whatever it is, you're giving guidance on the next steps to take.
And that's an old Cody Hardridge comment. What's next best step? So, all right. This is a pretty big hit last time. So Dave Savage is the Ford for the book 24/7 Mindset. Was asked, a lot of comments were asked if they get a copy of the ebook again for free. So it's right there at your fingertips. So grab your phone, scan the QR code, and you get the ebook of 24/7 Mindset away for free. So it's at your fingertips. Make sure you read what Dave said. If you don't know Dave that well, he shares about his previous story, which is a pretty darn cool story. All right. What
Dude, that's just a
are,
gift too, by the way, everyone. It's an amazing book, and it's really the owner's manual of how to set up an amazing mortgage practice, not a mortgage business, but a mortgage practice. And so the fact that you can get the book for free instead of buying it on Amazon is just a great offer. So thanks for doing that for the community, Wally.
happy to help. Happy to help. Thank you. All right. So what are staying in the game for open houses? I mean, so if it's first just frame staying in the game, like why do I struggle staying in the game?
Well, I mean, not always. Sometimes you might not be building rapport. Sometimes you might be paired up with a personality that just doesn't match well with you. Sometimes you might think the conversation is going well, and then they hit you with something that's like, oh, you know what, we're good. Well, what are you going to do? How are you going to keep the conversation going whenever it's gotten to more of a lull or a stopping point? So one of the ones that I personally like is kind of help me understand. And one thing to keep in mind about staying in the game is there's a lot of different ways you can address it. And what I mean by that is your tone is everything when you're using this. Let me show you an example. Help me understand. Help me understand. Give me some reassurance. Help me understand what that is. Those are three different ways of asking and saying the exact same thing, but your tone is making a massive difference. If I were to go to someone at an open house and, oh, I want 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, I want 2,700 square foot. Okay, help me understand why that's important to you. It's everything you're saying after that that makes them really want to move forward, and make sure you're really focusing on your tone. Because if you're not saying the right way and you're not using the right tone with these phrases, it could really come off aggressively. The point of staying in the game is just to make sure you keep the conversation going so you have a chance to open up another path and hopefully circle back to another perspective changer, more assumptive framings and labeling to go to that actual close portion of it.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add there, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really critical. Again, oftentimes, as great as we are, and as much as our customer needs us, because you're all the best, right? You're going to add way more value than if they go with that online lender. And so if you can think of these opportunities that you have, and we really dig in on these because I feel like this is such an opportunity for us when we feel like we're getting away from that client, right? Caleb's talking about help me understand why you want that type of a house. That is great from a curiosity perspective because you want to know the why, right? Then that's that lever you can push later. Oh, awesome. I'm so excited to help you be able to live nearby your grandkids, right? Oh, awesome. I'm really excited I can get you out here to Arizona where it's dry and your arthritis is going to be better when you can understand what the why is behind it. But it also gives you the opportunity, well, help me understand, why you think that the online lender is going to give you a better, is going to help you close your loan in a better way or other ways you can use it. And so it's really a great area because unfortunately, when you look at closing rates, right, at Momentum Builder, Todd Duncan's speech could be summarized into you need to do a better job converting the leads that you have to get them to close. And this is one of the key components of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you don't know Todd's program, it's an absolute game changer. His High Trust Academy is like bar none, one of the best ever. All right. So as we're wrapping up here, what are making conversations count for open houses?
So this is the point of the conversation that you guys have built rapport. You may have gotten the contract, may have gotten, you feel really, really good. The bottom line is whenever you're done, there's still more that you can get. We want to make sure when we get that cookie, we're following the crumbs to get to the full cookie. We're not leaving something on the plate. So making conversations count is asking just that additional thing. Hey, just one more thing. Do you know someone else that's like you, that's looking for a house as well? Just out of curiosity, who else can I help just like you? So it's where you're asking for a referral. I like to think of making conversations count from our perspective is, did we earn the right to get a referral? And if we didn't, then we need to figure out what we can do differently in the future. The whole point of making that conversation count is just to make sure you have something to walk away with it. It's great to get the deal. It's great to go ahead and get that contract, but what are we going to do next? Excuse me, Todd. And what are we going to do next to make sure that we're getting the next deal and we're constantly staying top of mind? Ever since I went to a squirrel moment there, ever since I've gone to exactly what to say, I heard Todd say he's trying to eliminate but from his language, and I really enjoyed that. And I can't tell you how hard it is to accomplish it. Once you do it, it's a really, really cool thing.
I love it. All right. So the last screen here. So the open house scripts in the upper left-hand corner, there's your QR code for the open house scripts. If you want the 76 free resources, they're right there. They're right in the middle of the screen. The ebook is for 24/7 mindset is right there in the bottom half of the screen. And then lastly, if you want to join the private Facebook group, Caleb does script practice on there, and he goes in there. He's got a lot of videos and content he does in there for the book and the academy. So everything's at your fingertips. Everything's completely free. And as Mr. Savage asked me to do, to not screen anymore. So stop sharing. Okay, got it. All right. Anything else you want to add there, Todd?
You know, because you guys are just two good-looking guys, right? So, you know, we want to see your faces. So I see Dave is here. I know Dave is
Yeah.
you're in a
Let me
at the hotel. So let's.
Yeah, let me go, and then Todd, I'll let you kind of do the wrap up in the last 5 minutes. So, you know, I'm currently working on a sales rally playbook. Anybody that follows me on LinkedIn, you saw a post yesterday where I just talked about how you know, most sales rallies are not optimized, and you know, part of that is what happens on stage. And I made some suggestions on how to deliver an incredible experience on stage. I want to call out, like, think of this as like a live event, and Wally and Caleb just delivered. And by the way, they followed my playbook. You know, they shared just a few ideas, not too much. They gave you lessons on how to do that. But then in that I talked about in the playbook, how are you going to turn that into success habits? How are you going to turn this into something that actually makes you more money? There's in the way I see it, there's 10% of learning is just happened. 20% of learning is it's your peers. Like if you were a branch manager on this, it's like, what are you going to do with other loan officers? You know, for loan officers that are watching this, you have friends in the business, you have friends in your branch, you have friends outside your branch. You know, a lot of learning happens, you know, what I call that peer masterminding. But 70% happens by practicing and doing, you know, and over the next 30 days, if you're going to turn what you heard on this stage, like if all you do is hear this, take a couple notes, and you don't practice, you don't implement, you don't follow up for 30 days, this was edutainment. Like probably not bad for you, but not game changing for you. So I want to push everyone, and especially the branch managers watching this, have a branch meeting around this. Feel free to leverage parts of this video within that branch training. And then remember, if you're really going to help your team, you're going to be following up. You know, hopefully you're doing a weekly sales meeting, and you're going to remind people in that weekly sales meeting. And hopefully you're going to do what Caleb said. You're going to have one-on-ones. And you know, when you check it off, like, hey, my group knows exactly what to say at open houses, and they know exactly how to teach and train realtors to do this. It's once you've tested them. You know, 30 days have gone by. And by the way, you're looking at their data, and you're seeing that, oh, your credit reports are up, your conversion's up. You know, oh, how many leads did you get at open house? Oh, how many leads was the realtor getting before they implemented your exactly what to say program, and how much are they getting now? So make sure you guys all do that. Again, make sure if you have not already signed up for the Modern Mortgage Summit, get signed up. If you really want to be a nerd and, you know, be a master of exactly what to say, like only so many people could do it. Like, you know, Deborah and Todd are doing this as a passion play. And, you know, there's a very limited number of people that can be in the room. There's a very limited number of people that can get certified by them. And, you know, hopefully I am doing more interviews like this, Todd, where we're interviewing people that have been certified and graduated through your program.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dave. I mean, I love, again, I mentioned it earlier, right here with my post note to remind myself, LTD, learn to doing. And that's what Wally and Caleb did. They took they invested the time, right, which is our most valuable asset. They invested the money. The money was the small cost for them. And then they put it into action. And so let me just kind of walk through it. I already said it. You can spend $13.
Hey, Todd, can I say one more thing before I go?
Yeah.
Because I know you're going to close it out. I also want to make sure, like, the least expensive investment that you all could make on this call is getting Wally's book. I mean, his book is literally a masterclass. So anyone who's part of the Mortgage Coach community, I was honored to write the forward on that, and I meant every word that I said in that forward. But get that book. Like, that's just a requirement for people in the Mortgage Coach, Win by Name, Trust Engine community. Just one of those things that you have to have. You have to have read. You know, Wally is a regular speaker in here, and then make sure you follow this dude on social media. Like, what he is doing in his group and on social media, it's not busyness, it's business, it's value. Like, you can just tell how much Wally cares So I just wanted to give a push for that resource as well, Todd. I'll hand it back to you, bro.
I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so again, you guys see in the chat is the images. You can scan the QR code, get into Wally's community, get a free copy of the ebook. I'm a physical book guy, right? I read the book and I underlined and highlighted stuff that I want to put into action. And so again, it's how do you have an action plan on all of this stuff? I think is always the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity, whether you put it into play. And so again, you don't need to attend a certification to be better, right? It's always better, not best, but certainly the certification is a 2-day full deep dive, a happy hour the first night to get to know the people, all day together, dinner together. And it's an opportunity to really go deep within this body of work. But again, the free stuff is, well, the book, $13.49. You can go to the Exactly What to Say website. There's a free 30-day challenge. You can sign up where it sends out challenges for you on a daily basis. And what I would encourage you to do is listen to the audiobook. There's a reason it's the #1 listened to nonfiction audiobook in the world. The average person listens to an audiobook 1/3 of the time, 0.3 actually to be exact. The average person who's bought Phil's book has listened to it almost 8 times. And I would encourage you just to go through it and then take one of these magic word phrases, right? There's 23 there. There's 32 we go through in the certification, and just practice it for a week. That's what I've done. I literally wrote down there, I'm not sure if it's for you, but in the top of my planner, put a Post-it note on my computer to remind me as I'm talking to people during that week to integrate it in and see how it feels, right? To make it an arrow in my quiver. And so that would be my encouragement to you all. There's a low cost way to implement this, because I believe if you can have better conversations, if you can come from a better place of curiosity, that you can have a way better business. Then you can also do what Wally and Kaleb are doing and impacting others, right? It's an easy opportunity to help your real estate pros. What else, Wally or Kaleb, either one wants to do that? Let's kind of dig in a little more on your community. So what are the action plans around the 24/7 mindset community? I know you put up the Facebook group, so I think that's a good one to follow. What else would you encourage people to do to get started more with what you have going on?
Yeah, so in the Facebook group, the biggest thing what I enjoy is about community. I'm the middle of 3 boys, and I always want everybody around me happy with me. And it's just the way I've kind of built things in my life today. The ability to have a group where it's super cool. If you get in there, you just go to Facebook, go to put in 24-7 Mindset Academy, and the private Facebook group, it'll pop up. You join the group. And what's super cool about that is right off the bat, I send you over my $150 million a year business plan from A to Z, everything that I do from how I prospect, who I prospect to, how do I convert. So you've got that at your fingertips. So that's a free tool that you get off right off the bat. In the chat here, please, like this is like at your fingertips. Like if you do the open house QR code, which I dropped in the chat, you have that right at your fingertips. Also in the chat is the free resources, 76 different free resources that you have at your fingertips. And then also in the chat, I dropped the free ebook. If you're wanting coaching, there's also coaching available, but there's no pressure to get coaching. I do a weekly coaching. I coach for 90 minutes a week to our group at the 6-Lane Highway Academy, 90 minutes a week of me with coaching with a group. And that's like super affordable. And you'll see that. But then also from there, if you want the post-closing process, which is anything Kaleb has helped build, the 7-day call, the 30-day call, the 6-month call, the annual mortgage review, and even the mortgage efficiency checkup. It's all at your fingertips. But step 1, just join the Facebook group and then see the value for yourself.
Man, I just love it. I feel like there's always a takeaway that I get from when I'm with you, and it's just this whole idea of you're just giving away so much for free, and I think that's the coolest part about this community, is the fact that we've got so many givers in here who come in there, and then really we joked about it at Momentum Builders that the average person in the mortgage business is in their 50s or 60s now, and so the fact that you're bringing in, you've got Kaleb here, who's just a shining example of what someone in their 20s can do. Makes me feel old since I have a kid his age. Makes me feel connected to Wally because I realize we're both middle of 3 boys, so no wonder we're both as crazy as we are. And so I'm just grateful. I want to first off thank all of you for taking the time to be here today. I feel like we got a fire hose of great knowledge. Hopefully you'll re-listen to or rethink about what I said to get going with Exactly What to Say, what Dave said to get going with having better sales meetings, with what Wally and Kaleb talked about with regards to getting in their community and how you can add more value to not just your team, yourself, but also your real estate agents. That's, I think the hardest thing right now is what are we talking to them about? And here's a perfect example of someone taking something and executing it, right? I mean, that wasn't the most detailed PowerPoint, but it guided them through the process and the conversation to have. And these are things that you can do if you choose to do it, right? You've got to get to the doing, right? Learning to doing. And as always, on the behalf of Dave, the whole Trust Engine community, myself, the Win by Noon community, and Deborah, who's not here, unfortunately, and her Plug and Play community, and now on behalf of Wally and the 24/7 community, thanks, Caleb. Thanks, Wally. We really appreciate you guys being here. We'll see y'all soon. Make sure you guys give this a like on YouTube, hit that subscribe button up there as well. And let's rock and roll. Can't wait to see everyone at hopefully a live event, but if not, a virtual event in the near future. Thanks, Paul, for running behind the scenes. We'll see y'all soon.
See you
Thank
guys.
you guys have a good one.
Yeah.